Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. And today we're going to be talking about digital marketing trends in 2026. On a random note, team, it was funny. I was watching the intro video, and I do these webinars every other week. But Colin, on a side note, because I know you're here for Q&A, they should update our award site to all the awards we won in 2025 because we have so many new awards that we won. But let's dive right in. So I'm Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. And today I have the privilege and honor with presenting with two other amazing people. We have Luke, who's the Vice President of Media and Strategy and Operations at NP Digital UK. And we have Salo, who is pretty much the VP of Marketing, but he really does run most of marketing, even though my title is quote unquote CMO. Luke, do you want to give a quick introduction of yourself? And Salo, you can do it right after.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Hey, everyone, I'm Luke, working over here in the UK. I've been out here for over 4 years now, setting up what we do in EMEA throughout the European campaigns, as well as feeding into our global campaigns. And with a lot of the team in NP Digital, really focus on the future of search. Not just what works today, but how we can push our clients into success, where search is going with these constant changes and evolutions as both the algorithms and the systems that are recommending you are changing, but also as user behavior is continuing to change in unison with the changes from the systems that are displaying.
Amazing. And thanks for having me. I'm Saulo Medeiros, one of the founders of the Brazilian division, and work with Neil coordinating the marketing. And I'm really excited to be here sharing some thoughts, some new insights that we are using on our own marketing and some predictions for you.
All right, so let's dive right in. So at NP Digital, we have 1,000+ people. We're in 28 or so countries. We have a lot of awards, work with a lot of big brands. We're seeing tons of trends. We're already adapting for 2026 for our customers. Now it's your turn to start adapting. If you need help, though, with adapting, you can just take your phone, scan that QR code, and it'll take you to npdigital.com, and you fill out the information. We'll get in touch with you, or you could just go to npdigital.com and fill out your information. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of different things that we're going to cover today that are changing in the next 12 months and what you really need to do to adapt. But it's going to be hard to do everything. Doesn't matter even if you're a big organization. It really is, because everyone has time constraints, people constraints, and money constraints. So what I recommend doing is just pick a few things and work on them, and then slowly start moving through the list. If you can do it faster, great. But even picking off 1 or 2 or 3 things is better than doing none. So let's talk about the AI transformation of marketing. When you think about marketing, it's now becoming more autonomous, right? Humans used to focus on things like execution. When it comes to marketing, hey, how do I get more clicks? How do I get more traffic? How do I get more conversions? Now, AI can help you with a lot of that. But where humans are really in the loop is focusing on strategy. We don't see a world anytime in the near future where AI replaces humans on strategy. Because the way AI works, and people tend to forget this, for it to create the output, it's scraping the whole web and taking the pass to come out with stuff to give you. And a lot of it is regurgitated. But as humans, you're more easily able to think of new ideas and strategies and trends that AI in many cases is missing. Now, I'm not saying AI won't evolve and get better in the future. This is just the current state for at least the next few years, if not the next 5 years plus. Now, you can think about marketing as becoming more of a managed system, right? AI can help you with research and decide and execute, and it can even run these systems from end to end when it comes to your workflow. But you as a human still really needs to be in the loop for strategy, and that is hard for AI to replace. We also hear a lot of people talking about agents. When you think about agents, we don't see them fully replacing marketing teams. We see them replacing parts of marketing teams. And that's an important nuance. A lot of people are saying, oh, agents can just do everything. They're great at research. They're great at copy and design and sometimes even strategy. And they're great at coordinating with different agents and helping with things like keyword maps and content outlines. But you still need humans to review and refine what the AI is producing before it goes live. AI can handle, in essence, think of it like the heavy lifting, and you can handle the fine tuning and the optimization. Prompt development is also going to become huge in marketing. Think of it this way. There's a lot of tools like Cursor that you can use that can just help speed things up when it comes to developing. And now non-technical marketers can ship prototypes, get more things done. But here's why I think prompt development or product development is going to become more useful in the future is when we look at AI citations and even backlinks, typically the biggest thing that tends to be linked other than massive brands is free tools. When you think about prompts, you can use prompts in a lot of these AI platforms to help develop a product. If you can develop a product and get it out there for free, you can end up getting a lot of traction, brand mentions, links, which helps with Google rankings, citations, and mentions on ChatGPT, also with Perplexity, Gemini, and all the other solutions out there. And now marketers have this in their power versus having to go try to get budget and have to hire developers. Funnels are also becoming living adaptive systems. Typically, before you see top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, think of something linear. It's not that case now. Think of it now as a funnel is like a spaghetti plate. It's all mixed together, and people can go to Reddit, and then from there, go check out a review video on YouTube. And then from there, go on Instagram to see what their friends are talking about, the space, or what other influencers are talking about. Then go to the website, sign up for an email list or to their email list, then get an email, and then add to cart, not purchase, then get a remarketing ad, and then complete a purchase, right? In essence, the funnel is really adaptive and messy now, and that's okay. And you're starting to see a lot of the funnel, top of funnel, start from social, in which people are discovering things from social, but not buying right then and there. The marketer also becomes the AI operator. There's a lot of things that AI can do. If you leverage these solutions to help you with your KPIs, which stands for key performance indicators, you can get a lot more done. When you think about AI, you have this amazing piece of technology that's super powerful. The biggest mistake we see with marketers is they use it, but they use it on the wrong stuff. If you use it on the right stuff, you can generate more revenue. If you use it on the wrong stuff, you may be like, oh, look at all this cool stuff I did. But if it doesn't impact your traffic, your rankings, or your conversions and sales, who really cares? Also with marketing attribution, right? The old way of attribution was fragmented data across a lot of different platforms, last click bias. Now, when you're thinking about marketing attribution in today's world, you have a unified customer journey stitched across all channels. You have multi-touch paths, and you can start attributing different amounts of, let's say, conversions, or you can assign different amounts of value for a specific conversion to each and every single channel, because many of them play a role in getting and generating revenue today, right? In marketing, they call it something called the rule of 7, in which when someone sees or interacts with your brand 7 times, they're much more likely to convert. In today's world, whether it's B2B or B2C, and we look at different price ranges from 0 to 100 all the way up to over 10,000 plus, we see the average touch point actually being over 11. And we've seen it increase because of all the different social channels and AI platforms. So you want to make sure you're attributing things correctly. And ChatGPT is also becoming the front door for discovery. I know there's a lot of charts like this. We're showing one here. ChatGPT could hypothetically grow to meet up with Google's current volume at a really quick pace. But according to the data that was published, I think I saw it on TechCrunch or something like that, ChatGPT's growth has actually slowed down drastically over the last few months. Gemini is actually growing at a much faster clip at this point than ChatGPT is now. So just keep that in mind.
And is interesting because this growth and adoption of AI has led to AI and SEO, or if you want to subscribe yourself to any of the different acronyms, GEO, AI, optimization, etc. But the big part is creating a strategy that you have to make sure that no matter who wins, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, as we can't forecast who the winner will be, that you have a strategy that'll work in the future is essential for your success in your digital marketing campaign. And it's actually when Neil talks about all those awards we won, and I'm proud to say we have won many awards, many prestigious awards in 2025. A lot of it came from doing just that, not targeting just a specific element, but creating strategies that are fluid and flexible for when there are changes made in this space, because the evolution in AI and SEO has been rapid and consistent. And one of the first things that we can focus on is the best brands that are succeeding have already figured this out. Search is no longer focused on being keyword first. The most successful brands have moved to topics and intent, really focusing on not creating individual pages that are chasing keywords, but being able to understand what people are searching for, the context of what they're searching for, and creating content bodies that answer the questions around that topic. And this is doubly true for smaller brands, especially smaller brands with less resources in their competitive space. And that's where the big opportunity is. It's also where I've seen a lot of the success in smaller brands leaking into these David and Goliath situations where they've taken a lot of the market share in AI by creating a good content strategy that focuses on targeting topics and intent, really focusing on crafting a brand entity to talk about the entities that is giving a solution for. Because one thing to remember is AI doesn't reward clever keyword placement. It rewards recognizable authority. And that's done through the way that you're crafting your content in a full-fledged manner to really serve the information needed in this space. And that's how AI is really understanding topical authority. But they're using systems similar to Google's EAT. And for those that are unfamiliar, EAT is experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Understanding which brands are worth giving as results or recommendations around a question because they're trustworthy sources, that information could be brought to the top. And building out your content is essential for EAT, crafting your entity around these relevant topics so you're seen as this trustworthy source to be surfaced. And it's about creating content that a journalist will quote. It's not just that a journalist will quote it to give you these citations or brand mentions, but when you're creating your content, everyone always says, create better content, create valuable content, but no one tells you exactly what that is. And it's creating content that's worth mentioning, not mentioning just in AI systems, but having journalists and publications mention it around the web. And that'll allow you to bring your digital campaign forward. Journalists don't care how many blog posts you've written, just if the information you're giving is valuable and worth surfacing. It's the same with AI systems. They ask, who already trusts this as a source? How can I be sure that I can give this to my users, my readers, and understand that they're giving the correct information, the best information? And one of the best ways to do that for both AI and to get journalists to requote you, to cite you as a source, utilizing proprietary data. Look at your own analytics, look at the data that you have and how your industry is moving, and come up with some great data points in which you can showcase that are unique to your brand. And that'll allow you to really showcase through all the noise that is being constantly populated as people focus more on content volume rather than content quality. And if you combine looking at your content body and being cited off source, you'll have a really well-rounded generative engine optimization strategy. Combining these two things will really allow you to surface your brand consistently in AI recommendations. And a big part of this is also freshness. I'll let you on a little secret. What we do here is with our content budget, we actually use 2/3 of our own budget for refreshing content and only 1/3 for making new content. It is so important for you to continuously refresh your content, but that also signals to these AI systems that it is up to date and is more likely to keep returning to your bodies of work, and therefore putting you in a better situation to be quoted and referenced in the future. But then taking that onto the other side and making sure that you're amplifying your content, ensuring that it is getting cited and cited consistently. Don't just do singular digital PR pushes, but consistently push out your content so you have this constant citation velocity. that you're getting mentioned around the web and mentioned in the correct ways, used in the correct manners. This is really important as well to diversify these, because we have situations where a lot of people were really focusing and putting all their eggs in one basket, which was Reddit, to be cited around Reddit. And AI systems pulled away from how much they were referencing Reddit as their main citation source. So ensuring that we're being cited around the web allows us to ensure that no matter what changes in the future, we're building this positive brand trust and brand authority, no matter how the LLMs change the weight of what they're returning as a recommendation. And that's really important as well to note that sentiment is becoming a direct ranking signal. We already trust websites like TripAdvisor or similar sites more than we trust the hotel websites themselves. It is no different from your website. You can shout out about how great you are as most as you can, but unless other websites also reference you as a trustworthy and great website, these systems won't believe it. It's so important to pass your reviews around to multiple domains, multiple different review sites, and ensure that the sentiment of those reviews is positive. These systems aren't just checking, do they have 4.5 out of 5 stars? They're also saying in the reviews, what is the sentiment? How do people phrase their reviews of this company? And so tone of reviews end up mattering more than just the volume. AIs don't see ratings, they interpret language. And so it's so important that you're ensuring with your community management team that we're responding to any negative reviews and making sure that positive sentiment is really being pushed forward and we're curating it. Even more important for multi-regional campaigns where the regional sentiment may differ. We worked with a very big client of ours at the start of this year when we did an AI visibility audit and found that in Germany, they actually had lower sentiment value than any of the other surrounding regions. And in all the other regions, and especially the US, they were constantly showcased and referenced as a good solution in AI systems, specifically ChatGPT. But when mentioned in Germany, because the local review sentiment was so low, they were actually commonly referred competitors, even when you search for the brand name. And so it's important as well to understand the sentiment you have in different regions and in different languages so you can make specific campaigns and properly localize what you're doing. And to do this as well, we have to ensure that when we're creating content, we're creating these different strategies, even when we're localizing and regionalizing each of these, that we're doing it in a way that is still written for humans. We're writing with emotive expressions for humans, connecting to emotional triggers with humans, but we're packaging this up for machines so they can easily parse it or understand it. Because a big part of this is the better you are understood, the better you can be given as a result or recommendation through a different AI system. But we can't exclude our human element because that's who's going to end up making the final purchase. So you have to balance it out. And one of the biggest ways to be able to do that is making sure that you're moving away from excess marketing fluff in your language and your coffee, which has in the last 10 years really taken over a lot of product pages or solutions pages. A lot of brands we work with, I see this very commonly, that they just talk about these big generalities and try to bring things very emotional. They don't actually talk about what the product actually does or the solution really serves. So it's important to combine these two and actually use quantifiable metrics to say what you're actually doing with your services. AI really prefers this and actually showcases this above, especially when you look at any data set of your marketing competitors. You'll probably notice they're doing the same. It's probably one of the things I find most brands doing that's harming their digital strategies that can give you this massive opportunity by quantifying inside your emotional language what you're actually doing and what the benefits of selecting you as a brand to service these needs will give the user. One thing that Neil had referenced and alluded to is, brand citations are being a massive part of these AI systems. We've moved on from just backlinks, and it is further more complex systems than just utilizing backlinks. So the link matters not as much anymore, and it's focused on, is your brand being cited? And as I mentioned, is it being cited with a positive sentiment around it? As long are the days that all PR is good PR. We have to ensure that what we're getting, the citations around us, the references, that is positive. And making sure that we're constantly getting mentioned. And you can do this, like Neil was saying, make a tool. Make tools that are relevant to your industry and to your users that will give them a reason to get something for free, and then utilize your services. Shopify is one of the best at doing this. They've created lots of smaller brands or tools that allow users that are making a new website and making a new brand to really leverage these free tools to push their website better, to use Shopify services. They made a logo creator, a brand name generator. They have some to make copy. So figure out what your users need to better utilize your product and make those tools for free. One other big thing is when you're creating all this content, because your content body is so important to build your topical authority, is your content is also being used for this AI training data. Just because you aren't quoted doesn't mean your content isn't used. I challenge you, when you type in prompts to understand better what AI systems are returning as answers, to look at where AI is citing these sources. Even though it doesn't mention brands all the time, they will be cited and the information is being pulled. You're building trust and authority in the eyes of these systems when they're utilizing your content. So ensuring that you're creating valuable content that will be leveraged ends up building the trust that will give you more recommendations and results in the future, allowing your brand to better be showcased when it really matters. But one of the big things, and I alluded to this before, community platforms have lost organic visibility power. Prior, people were really hyping up Reddit as a massive source in which AI was quoting consistently, and it was, but then they made a massive shift, and they're no longer receiving outsized organic reach by default. In fact, AI systems are using a much more varied amount of citations, but it's still so vitally important for you to be engaged in these different community forums to ensure that you're mixing this brand sentiment and diversifying which community forums you're interacting with. And the biggest part here is interacting with. Speak with your communities, speak in them, don't just speak at them. It's something that we've been saying here for over a decade with our social campaigns. When you're getting involved in these systems, don't just imagine that because you're there, people will come. Ensure that you're adding value, not just promoting your brand. People will turn against you really quickly inside these communities if you're always trying to advertise them. It's giving value and allowing your brand to be showcased by that value that you're adding into these conversations. And when it comes to value, video has been a massive asset of value, and more AI systems are continuously placing out videos inside the results. And this is also in tandem with the TikTokification of the web. People are expecting different websites to showcase video content as they are interacting with video content constantly. This brings back to Jacob's Law. If you're unfamiliar with Jacob's Law, it's people spend most of their time not on your website. So therefore, their expectations of your website are being crafted by their experiences elsewhere. And because they're spending so much time on social platforms and interacting with this video content, they're expecting more video content. And as AI systems will continue to use the video content to align with users' expectation, they expect when you land on your website to have that video content. But AI is also becoming better at understanding video content. And a lot of brands have come to us and say, this is great. We'd love to use more video content, but we don't have the budget. And that's okay. Lo-fi content we've seen over and over again outperforms high production value content. Using just person and camera is very, very impactful. But not just that, is you can actually reutilize a lot of content. It doesn't need to be one-to-one with the pages that you're focusing on. Recut content, re-edit it, and just make sure that it's relevant. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one answer. But one of the biggest changes that we're seeing is that AI is being continuously interacted with for longer periods of time, but also showcasing more of a solution for users. And a big part of this is it's starting to become ingrained with the e-commerce solutions. And it won't be long until people are making their whole purchase journey just on AI search systems. So we have to ensure that we're following everything we talked about before to become a trustworthy source, to be surfaced in AI as a recommendation, ensuring that we're understood so our products and solutions are being pushed forward, but also so that our brands are providing the proper back-end support that these AI systems need, providing specific structured data through schema or even things as simple as HTML tables, and really giving value to our products, explaining all the quantifiable metrics that describe their specifications becomes essential for AI systems to understand and then showcase that to users. Because when people are interacting with AI systems, they're commonly asking very specific long-tail queries. And in those conversations, when they're getting more and more specific, AI needs to be able to pull those specific technical instruments of your products to be able to showcase them to users, or it just will not bring it forward at all, and you'll be excluded. So ensure that systems can understand and bring forward the information around your products needed. And one other big part that's changing with AI is voice search is back on the rise. People are interacting with AI systems a lot through voice. I don't know about you all, but I commonly actually speak to ChatGPT through the voice to text function, making much longer queries. But also, this is encouraging me to use more voice search. And the big thing about voice search is there are more truncated answers. And in those truncated answers, if you're not displayed correctly because you're not trusted enough, you are just excluded. So it becomes so essential for you to be recognized when someone makes a voice search, because normally in the very top of the funnel, that they name your brand so you can start building that awareness and that trust. And it's not just from voice search. It's also everything to do with search everywhere. And that part's massive. Is that search everywhere optimization, we're getting to, there's different aspects of pulling in from all different types of search. Search has evolved from just regular searching on Google to social, especially e-commerce, AI, and in back into voice. So making sure that you're really targeting and adhering to all these different systems gives you a full rounded campaign to ensure that you are targeting your users from the start to the finish of the journey. And a big part of that then goes into what the social media trends that are happening, but I'll let Saulo jump into that.
Thank you so much, Luke. And everybody's using social media and a lot's been going on. And the purpose of this section is to show you what is actually shifting beneath the surface. Okay, so let's dive in. The first thing is that social is becoming search engines. All right, you have seen that before. Discovery begins inside social feeds. Users scroll before they Google, and everybody's talking about optimizing for social search. But you need to remind yourself that Google is also watching social media, and the main reason why you should focus on optimizing for search inside social media, it's because Google is also scraping social media and providing AI answers using social media content. So if you're being cited by social media search, you can be also cited by the Google's AIs, the ChatGPT's AIs of the world. Okay, so keep your content as searchable as possible, but keep in mind that you're doing that because you're focusing not just on that platform, you're focusing also on results. All right, then moving on, you see like social SEO becomes a core growth layer. And this little chart on the right show you when customers learn about your brand and if creating social media content even worth it. But what you can see, and that's obvious, a lot of people, they get to know you using social media, and not because you're advertising or something like that, but because your content is similar to their preferences. Okay, so what is happening behind the scenes is that platforms are building creator authority score the same way they do the domain scores and SEO scores. Like the social media platform is also gaining like creators and account scores. So if your account represents a good trustful source of information, people are pleasant to go there and watch your content, AI, the platforms will reward you with more reach and with more engagement. All right. Then, if you keep going, you will see that uh, this is just an example of how the checkout is being structured over the years. And you see, like you have your e-commerce, let's say, and social commerce, and you will see more and more that the platforms will integrate ways for people to purchase products inside their own platforms. So that's how it's super important for you to have your own app, because right now it's much easier for you to send a push notification to people and then they land on your content specifically without any distraction inside of your app, instead of like optimizing for search and etc. and keep going. Like you should do that, but you should leverage your own properties to make the most out of it, not just out of Google but out of social media. All right, so in the end, what we'll be seeing is that, let's say, TikTok will have the TikTok shop everywhere, but also people will be able to buy from it inside TikTok and inside every other platform. So the algorithm will favor the people that have like clear content instructions and that is easy to follow, because if it's easy to follow for a person, it will be easy to follow for eventually agents that will perform purchase on your behalf. Then there is a big shift happening on your feed. I don't know about you, but I have been using much more the favorite feature on my Instagram, let's say, because that calibrates so much better my feed and my preferences. And this is becoming a huge signal for the platforms as well. So you should aim for your social media to get more favorites for people who favorite your account, because this is kind of a subscription, and this will send important signals for the platform. All right, so it's not just favoring your content towards the audience that shows your brand, but also multiplying that for people that have the same interests. Okay, so the recommendation engines learn from it, and the feed become more interested. Okay, and if the platforms can do that, you will stay longer using social media. And then talking further about content creation, I just want to you to pay attention to long form, and not just because long form makes your audience stick more and spend more time inside the platform, but also because long form, specifically on social media, can teach AI and can teach the platform what your content really is about. And then by doing that, they can increase your reach for same and related audiences that may like that content. So you can of course use long form to repurpose content, and that's a great strategy. You should be doing that, but uh, keep in mind that AI is being trained using long form, all right, specifically video. And then everybody is looking at social media right now. It's seeing like some sort of virtual influencers. Some of them are fully virtual, are fully AI generated, and a lot of people are using AI to create their virtual avatar of themselves, like in a very similar way they do like real person content. And what we are seeing is that the AI only avatars on social media are losing traction. Some of them, of course, are very popular now and they kind of a celebrities, so they will most likely stay. But the best approach for you is use a mix of both, and use a AI assisted approach and create real person content like you presenting on the camera, talking to the people, but also use AI to create your avatar to then explore new angles of your content, or maybe streamline production, and you see huge success out of it. Then let's talk about quality on social media. Everybody knows how this is important, but I want to go deep. And right now, what is very important is not just quality, but depth. And if you go and start talking about your niche and your content on a surface level, you'll be just like every other person. So if you want exposure, if you want reach, and if you want social media 2026 to be a huge channel for you, go deep in the quality, but in the content, uh, creating content with aspects that nobody else can do besides you. And then AI and the algorithm will privilege your content over the others. Now, that's social media, but a very strong channel for acquisition is paid media trends. And I'll be touching on a few things here that we are observing, not just from our paid media spend, but from the millions and billions of ad spend we manage for customers. Okay, so the first thing is the performance advertising is becoming AI first. And what that really means is that your job is no longer to optimize the campaigns, but to collect as many data you can to train AI to advertise for you better and better. And if you do that, and there is another thing that I will talk a little bit further in the presentation, is that if you can collect data about your ideal customer, like this is super, but you also need to feed the AI platforms, advertising platforms, with the signals of people that you don't want. All right, and by doing that, you create like a huge component on your advertising, which is a well-trained AI that will help you accomplish every aspect of your goals. And then the second thing I want to touch related to advertising and performance is the creative aspect of it. And the bottleneck now is not just the production judgment, like you're selecting the creatives that you like the most or that follows your brand style and etc. And like that's okay, but think about it. With AI now you have infinite ways to create a piece of assets that you can advertise. And then by doing it at scale is not like the initial judgment anymore. It's a creative production strategy, and using AI you will make like advertising in a way that you never did before. You have so many more variations and you will see that most times the ones working are the ones that you didn't thought it will work. Okay, so quantity when it comes to creative is fundamental. Now let's move a little bit over the rewrite search behavior. Okay, so what we are seeing is that citation is influencing how advertising is being shown. And of course the AI will integrate more and more ads throughout the answers, because of course this is a logical business model for them to make more money. But keep in mind that if they keep citing you, they will not just want to send you free traffic from the LLMs. All right, they will charge for it. But the first step is to be cited. So this is kind of a combination of what Luke said about being relevant through the eyes of the algorithm, and by being, you will see that your ads will also perform better. Now let's talk about the targets. Okay, keyword is not like the essence of advertising anymore, but what the algorithm is performing right now is a pretty clear understanding of what is your search universe around the key terms of your product. And what Google and other platforms will end up creating is like 100 searches around your key topic, and will also be able to predict searches that are correlated but not directly related to your product, and will start advertising even though you didn't choose that topic on your campaign. So it's much more a predict based intent, and as much more you can do to create campaigns like that, the better will be your results. And I have a great example on that regard, which is Performance Max. So you need to run Performance Max because of various reasons. First of all, it distributes ads across search, display, YouTube, Discovery, Gmail, and many more places. It uses AI, so it makes your life easier, and optimize towards conversions. Okay, so this is huge. And how you can win with Performance Max in 2026 is what I just said. You need to feed strong creative variations and having clear goals, but you also use uh, solid measurements to validate your learnings and feed AI with negative signals. All right. By doing that, the Performance Mac will not target the wrong customers and will find you like the blue oceans of the audience. Then, almost to the end, related to ads, I want to emphasize how demand gen builds buyer before they search. And if you're looking at the way people use social media, the way they scroll, the way they discover new products, it's very much influenced by the algorithm that is showing different contents to them. And that's what demand gen does. It shows your brand advertising in very different ways that people are not even expecting, but in a super relevant way. And by doing that, your advertising can reach new audiences that even imagined that you could have. All right, and the AI Max is also like a super important component of your advertising 2026. And you will see that not just your ads are being transformed by the advertising platforms, but also your landing pages. So the static landing pages don't work anymore because the creatives and the assets for people to get there are being strongly disrupted by the way AI is building them. So your landing page should respond to those ads and should be dynamic enough to identify the advertising title and mimic that on the page. Things like that will have a huge incremental performance for your results, not just because AI will perform better, but also people seeing like related signals across your funnel tends to convert more. Now, Google AI systems is compounding as one engine, and you will see like the organic authority improves relevance for AI overviews. The strong creative messaging fuels PMax, Demand Gen, AI Max, and create the learning loops. The first party audience enhance the targeting, the personalization, and the bidding, and clear measurement and attribution guides AI towards the most profitable outcomes for your brand. So Google is building this brand relationship score that transcends just the advertising channel. So keep in mind that your marketing should be more and more holistic, and every single aspect of it will contribute to better performance across all channels.
All right, let's talk about turning 2026 trends into action, and then we'll dive into some Q&A. Look, the key takeaways is you want to treat AI as an autonomous system that you design to direct and not really as a one-off tool. Think about how you can actually integrate it within your marketing and have it continually work for you so that way you could be more productive and hit more of your KPIs. You also want to build topical and entity authority that AI and search engines can recognize and trust, because it's no longer a keyword game anymore, right? It's not about, hey, I want to rank for the term digital marketing agency. People are asking questions like, oh, I have a company in 33 countries. What digital marketing agency can help us generate traffic from paid, social, and organic, right? So people are going much more specific with their queries. And when you build authority from a topic and entity standpoint, you're much more likely to show up for all queries related to your industry. And you also want to shift social from volume to depth. You want to focus on what you're an expert at, and you want to create a ton of educational content around that. And of course, you want to align creative, data, and media so Google's AI and other platforms can compound your efforts instead of having everything from a fragmented viewpoint. When marketing runs in a fragmented way, it just doesn't work as well, and the results don't compound as well. If you want to help us, or if you need help taking all these trends and creating a concrete roadmap, and you just want someone to execute on it, take your phone, scan the QR code, go to npdigital.com and fill out your information. If you're interested in a roadmap and you're not sure if you want someone else to execute on it for you or not, still fill out your information and we'll do a call, help you out, and then you can decide what you want to do. All right, Colin, let's get into some Q&A.
Q&A. Good stuff, you guys. So Neil, we'll start with you. There were a few folks that asked the same question. How do you get new customers to mention or name your brand when you're trying to build brand awareness for a new brand that doesn't have any awareness yet? Like, any just tips and tricks, or follow these like 2 or 3 things when trying to build a new brand and awareness for that brand? Because there was a lot of talk about citations and everything else. So any tips there?
So few things that you can test out. Okay. 1, collaborate with influencers. Yes, sometimes you'll have to spend money for that, but that can get your brand out there more frequently. 2, create unique content that people would want to cite. For example, we have a lot of charts and data. If you look at our footnotes, it's not like we're always the one who's come up with that data. So for example, we may take data from Status, Shopify, Microsoft, Google, or Think with Google, and a few other sources, and cite them in our footnotes, aggregate the data, and put it in a visual that people can see, and then reach out to publishers within our space and see if they want to talk about it, share it, cite it, right? Those 2 things really helps us out. The third thing that I would recommend is you can use tools like Cursor or Lovable, create free tools, publish them on your website, reach out to other people who have similar tools but cost money, and ask if they want to share, or you want to reach out to the publishers who are linking to your competition, right? But if their tools are paid and yours is a free version, even if it's not as good, if you hit up those publishers, there's a really good chance they'll start linking to you, citing you, mentioning you more. And this is a great way to get a leg up on your competition. Those 3 things.
Awesome. While I have you, kind of related, I think from a different user though. Not every business has their own internal data. I think internal data, I don't remember if it was Luke or Salo that spoke about leveraging internal data, but not every business has their own internal data. Any advice on how to start generating or collecting your own internal data so that you can use it for good marketing decisions in the future? If you're a new website, you just don't have a ton of user data, like what do you do?
Sure. So the first thing is, as I mentioned on the previous question, aggregate data from others. So you can use sources like ChatGPT and Perplexity and Gemini to help you do research, double check. Sometimes the stats they give you in ChatGPT and Gemini are off. So you really want to double check the sources, and then review it. And then you can create a graph or a chart or some sort of presentation that aggregates a lot of that data. Now, that's a shortcut, because the real question is, how do you start with your own data? That's going to take some time. You're going to do that by releasing tools, generating customers, running your own surveys, interviewing companies and aggregating it, doing your own research, which costs money. But I would first start off with the aggregation side. And then as your business grows, you'll start collecting data without you even realizing it. Now, if you're a service-based business or even a product-based business, your customers' data, you have to be very careful. In most cases, is not going to be your data, and you can't just do whatever you want with it freely. It's not just about terms of service and privacy. It's about legalities as well. In many cases, let's say if you have data on 1 million businesses, I'm giving a hypothetical here, right? You can aggregate and anonymize and show industry trends. But if you have data on 10 businesses, you can't. It's going to be really tough, and you're probably going to get into trouble if you're like, Here's an aggregation of 10 businesses, and here they are, right? You can't do that kind of stuff.
Right. Certain things just don't fly. So Luke, jump over to you. A couple of questions. This is a good one, and we've heard this before, I think. Do you think that a good, strong SEO strategy also translates to a good, strong geo/AI SEO strategy? Like, if you follow the same foundation and the same principles that we've been following for 20 years now and doing SEO, does a lot of that sort of carry over, do you think, to 2026 and what's going on with ChatGPT and AI overviews and all this other stuff that's out there?
You're right. Very good question. It's a question we hear a lot here at MP Digital. And it's yes and no. Yes, a good SEO strategy translates to a good foundational GEO strategy, but there's a lot more that's needed. It is just the foundational aspects. There's a lot more tuning, refining that you need to do to be able to start being mentioned quite consistently through different AI platforms. So what you need to take is the concepts of SEO and essentially just upgrade a lot of them. Like we talked about in this presentation, move away from keywords, start really talking about topics and intent, which a lot of you should have been doing recently in your SEO strategies anyway, even before GEO came out. It is just really moving the bar of what quality is higher. Just ensure that you're making all your content to these new systems and that you're looking at your website essentially as an API of your information, not just a location in which people land.
Got it. So, and while we have you, this one came up a couple of times too, and it's related, I think, to the previous question. Do we need to worry or focus on technical issues these days? I understand that schema and markup's important, but what are your thoughts on duplicate content, usage of JavaScript, and other like crawlability issues that so many SEOs have been talking about for years? Do LLMs like have the same roadblocks or the same issues? We've always been talking about indexability first, and then relevancy, and then authority, and like, what are your thoughts on technical limitations? I know they're all a little bit different, and like things are moving super duper fast, but are technical issues still an issue when it comes to LLMs and some of the stuff that we were talking about?
Yeah, that's another good one. I think all three of us mentioned it's about being understood by these systems. And if these systems cannot properly crawl your website or access the information, you cannot be understood. And while a lot of these algorithms and AI systems are far more complex than what we've seen in the past, their crawlers and how they access your site are actually more simple than Google's crawlers have ever been. There's a lot of websites there that have built and leveraged too much JavaScript that these AI systems cannot handle. And these AI systems, if they can't see what's being populated or rendered on your website, they're not trying to figure out what it is. They're just going to another website and getting information elsewhere. So I would say actually technical issues, especially the foundational technical aspects, are more important than ever. So if you want to be understood, you want your information to be showcased in AI systems, you have to ensure that your website is, one, crawlable, and as Colin just referenced, indexable. Is it actually going to be able to appear in these systems? Can it be understood?
Yeah. So, and well, we have you once again. I think you spoke to freshness, content freshness. There was a question. Can you tell us a little bit more about fresh content? Is fresh content a month old, a week old, and how much of the article do I have to freshen up for it to be fresh? Any thoughts there? Quality deserves freshness is an old acronym from way back in the SEO days. Any additional insights there would be helpful.
I think that's great. Quality does deserve freshness, and it's accuracy. You're going for accuracy. And everyone wants this blanket statement where I say you want to do this many refreshes a month. It'll appear for everybody's website. And that's just not the case. Depending on what your industry is, it'll mean you have to refresh more or less than other industries. Depending on how things are currently changing in your industry will depend if you have to refresh more or less. And so it's really, is your information accurate? You should be constantly looking at your information body and seeing what can we update. If you're bringing in internal data, we made this big internal data piece and we pushed it through PR. What pieces of our content can we update and include references to this internal data? And so it's a constant, just keep your finger on the pulse. What can you consistently update? Don't update for the sake of updating. Are you actually changing the information? Are you giving this new piece and ensure that your content is never outdated or inaccurate, especially inaccurate because of the way things are changing?
Yeah, and changing in a very rapid pace. Salo, over to you, sir. This one may have come up a few weeks back, but it keeps coming up. What minimum budget is needed to use AI platforms effectively? A few webinars ago, you shared several AI tools. Were those all subscription-based? Were there free versions of some of these tools? If I'm a SMB and I'm trying to set aside budget and I'm doing budget planning for 2026, like, how much money should I try to set aside to help pay for some of these subscriptions so I can do all of these cool and amazing things that you have been sharing over the last month and a half?
And before Salo answers this question, keep in mind he's in Brazil. The currency exchange is roughly 5 to 1, and he can figure out how to get these tools, and he personally uses some of them and pays for some of them personally. Company also has different tools and we provide them, but go for it, Salo. And the reason I say this is if he can do it, all of you guys can as well.
Of course. But for a small business or whatever marketer level you are, I think you should be spending at least $500 a month with different subscriptions. And this will improve not just your social media content, but also your advertising. And what you should be doing is like testing platforms and unsubscribing and removing your payment if the platform don't generate the results you're looking for. So you change to another platform and you try again and again, and you'll be finding new ways, new platforms that do things much better than others.
Let's go with $100. What would you do with $100 a month? That's all you have.
All right. So for sure, Claude, I'll use to perform copywriting. I use GenSpark to help with slide decks and ideation and presentations. I'll be using HeyGen to create your AI avatar, but also will save some money to advertise those pieces, because that's the most important part. You need to test if that is really resonating with your audience. And by saying that, maybe it's a good segue for you, Neil, to talk about the promotion we're doing with Google about advertising on YouTube.
Yeah, Colin, do you want to drop it in the chat? Is there a public chat?
Yeah, I can drop it in.
I don't know, Marina.
I'll drop it in YouTube.
There's a link. If you're in the US, we're working with Google. We don't get affiliate commission or anything on this, just to be very clear and transparent here. If you run the demand gen campaign and you deposit in $1,000, they'll give you $2,000 free dollars. So I think the offer only lasts till the end of the year. Igor, can you put it on screen? Salo, do you have the URL? What's the URL?
Yeah,
there you go. You gave it to Igor. It's G for Google.co/ads, ADS/offer, OFFER. There you go. Thank you. G.co/ads/offer. Keep that up for a little bit. People should screenshot it. This is just, it disappeared on me. We'll put it back. There you go. It's a really easy way for you guys to get free Google money, and I would go and do it and claim it before the year ends. So
please do, guys. Please use this. Like, this is very useful.
It's really just free money. We get nothing from it.
For you. Come on.
So this is an early Xmas gift, and is that right? Yeah. G.co/ad/offer. Go check it out. Deposit $1,000. They'll give you $2,000 for a demand gen campaign. That's
remember
$3,000. You only spend $1,000. You should be able to make the ads profitable at that point if they give you $2,000 for free.
Yeah.
So that's it. I know we're a few minutes over. Thank you guys all for attending. Check us out at npdigital.com if you need help with your marketing. And don't forget to claim Google's free offer. I don't know why people wouldn't use it. Take care.
Okay, guys.